What's up, Video Fort Nation? I'm Magic Bard, and for today I'm going to show you a simplified version of how Edgar Wright does his little cartoony effects. One of the biggest films that remind me of this is Scott Pilgrim versus the World, where he's fighting off all of the ex-boyfriends. Very cool movie. If you haven't seen it, Edgar Wright, definitely one of my favorite directors. A lot of stuff you can learn from him. So we're going to jump right into this, but first, of course, got to give you guys the shout outs to Arno, The Real Knight, and Game King Music. Really appreciate the love, guys. Thanks for leaving us comments. Now, let's jump into this tutorial. Alright guys, let's check it out. So, this is really a tutorial on compositing, and I say that because really it's just elements inside, and we'll create some of these. The hearts are actually PNG files I got off of Google, so you guys can also do that, and or you can create your own hearts. But the little explosions, or little bursts as I call them, we made that in After Effects. And yeah guys, so let's check it out and try and see what we can do. So first things first, you're gonna have your clip here. So I've got my Summer Rae clip, and I'll just drag it into a new composition. Cool, so this is it right here. She's just walking, and what we want to do is mask her out or cut her out, so we can put the hearts behind her. So what I'm gonna do is go to my Roto Brush tool and use that. So I'm just gonna double click on my clip right here, fit this into the comp, and if you hold down your command key and then click and drag, you can resize the brush like this. Okay, so I went through the Roto Brush tool in a couple of tutorials back in the past, so I'm not really gonna do much here. Just fill in the parts that we need to mask out. Okay, that was an Amber Alert. Okay, and then for any unwanted areas, what you're gonna do is hold down the Option key, so you'll see the little minus sign, and then just kind of red out the parts we don't want to capture. And then what you're going to do is come down into here, press the plus sign to zoom in a little bit, and just drag this out to the full length of your clip. This is what's going to render out this whole rotoscoping effect. And then what I usually like to do is drag the playhead out a little bit and see how my rotoscope brush is doing by itself, and it looks like it's pretty good. Double check it a few times, and once you've got a solid roto brush in, you can freeze it, okay, and that will be better for rendering times for you. But also, if you guys have hair, okay, that you need to rotoscope out as well, you can come up here to your Roto Brush tool, click, hold it, and then click on that Refine Edge tool. So what we can do here is get some of the hair in. So just bring it on the edge of where the hair is, and then just kind of drag around, and then what you'll see is the white part is what's going to be masked out, and it does a fairly good job of that. So yeah guys, that's just a really quick how to do a Roto Brush, and once you've got it all configured out, what I'll do is press that freeze button, and then you'll have your Roto Brush layer ready to go. Okay guys, so we've got our little Roto Brushed layer of Summer Rae walking, and that looks good. Now we need our background back in here, so all we have to do is just select our clip, Command D to duplicate it, and then on this bottom one we can delete the Roto Brush tool effect. So I'm going to delete that right there, and now we have a layer of her on the top, our actress, and on the bottom our background. Now all we have to do is in between we'll put the hearts in. So go to our project, and I have this heart that I have, this little heart image. I'll throw it onto the comp, and it's obviously huge, so I'm going to resize it down a bit to maybe about 2%, and I'm just going to create a simple basic animation for it right now. So I'm going to hit the P for position, keyframe that, and bring it out to maybe 2 seconds long, and drag it out, and then at about halfway through I'm going to bend this so it's not a straight line. So then that way we're going to have this nice little animation. And then all I have to do is trim this heart down. So with the layer select, I'm going to hold down Option and the end bracket tool, which will cut it down for me, trim it down, and boom, that looks good to me. Fairly simple. We can even add a little rotation to it, so I'll hit that rotation, keyframe it, and kind of start it here, and then at the end you can go up like that. So it kind of follows a path, it looks like. Alright guys, and then now what we can do is do this again. So Command D to create another heart, hit P for the position. I'll delete this middle position keyframe, and then go to the end, and this time I'll drag the heart maybe into the middle. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing, add a little bend to this, so either bend it this way or that way, it's really up to you. Alright, cool, so we've got this nice little bend. I'll hit R for rotation and do the same sort of thing here. Okay, so I'm just rotating it, and I have my keyframes already set in place, so we're good to go there. And I'll make a third heart, so Command D to do another one. I'll hit U on my keyboard so I can see all of my keyframes. Delete that middle keyframe for the position, and this time this heart will go down here. And make sure to change the rotation as well. Cool. Another thing you can do to make these hearts look a little bit different is change the size up for them. So maybe this middle one, I will press S to bring up my scale and maybe make it 1.5. So it's a little bit smaller. And then maybe this bottom one, I will make a 2.5. Okay, so now we have all shapes and sizes, right? Or at least all different sizes. Okay guys, so that's a fairly quick, we got 3 little hearts in there, and now what we can do is I'll close these down, pre-compose them. Okay, so select that bottom one, which is really the top one. I'm going to rearrange these, so put that one on the top, this one on the bottom, and then we have our middle. So with the bottom one selected, composition, go to layer, pre-compose, and move all attributes, adjust composition duration. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna call this heart bottom. Okay, so we got that one, and we'll do the same thing for this one. So layer, pre-compose, heart, middle, and the top one, layer, pre-compose, heart, top. Okay, and now what we can do is duplicate these clips. Now first, what I want to do is offset them just a little bit so that they're not all coming out at the same time. Okay, now remember, this is, all these hearts are behind her head, so really it's gonna look like this, but I just want to see their full animation, so that's why I'm keeping this Summer Ray clip, Roto Brush, on the bottom for now. So let's offset these just a little bit. I'm just going to take these and drag them out so they're kind of coming in and popping out at different times. And now what we can do is duplicate that top one, drag it out, offset it a little bit, and rotate it. So with the whole composition selected, I'll hit the W on my keyboard to use my rotation tool to rotate it just a little bit. And now what we've got is this guy coming in like that. Okay, so really what you're doing is using the same animations, which will speed up your editing and effects time, and that way all you have to do is just rotate clips. You can even flip them. You can use an effect called flip or flop them. I would actually flip them, and do that for all of them. So for the middle one, I'm going to offset that a little bit as well, and then maybe on this one I'll add the flip effect. Okay, and make sure if you do that, you're going to have to rotate it as well. So let's see, it comes in right there. So maybe up here at the top, and then it will like that. Cool. And then I will duplicate the bottom one and maybe do this. Rotate it a little bit or a lot and move the comp down. Let's see what that looks like. Move it over here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take all of these hearts, so select all the heart compositions and then go to layer, precompose. So now we've got our hearts layer 1. Press OK, and now what you can do is duplicate that, offset that as well to fill in the end of the comp. Now you've got all kinds of hearts coming in. Boop, 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 boop. I mean, you can even drag it out like that. And on top of that, you can move this composition as well to sort of offset those hearts. So now you've got all kinds of different looking hearts, and you can even resize it. So come into here and maybe 110. So all the hearts are a little bit bigger. No heart is the same. Okay, great. Now what we need to do is add those bursts in. So I'll show you how to create those bursts yourself. What we'll do is come into here and let's just open up one heart for now. So then we can see what that burst is going to be like. It's fairly small, right? And now let me show you how I created that. So I'm going to open up this burst. And really what it is just layers that I use the pen tool to create these sort of shapes, right? So I have a circle in here, this red circle, I have a white circle, and then I have these custom shapes that I made. So let's see if we can do one of those. What we'll do is open up a new composition, call it bursts. Oops. Bursts. O2, not bursts. Okay. O2. I mean, it doesn't have to be 2 seconds long, but we'll go with that for now. And I'm going to add a new layer. So solid, we'll do a white solid, white. Press OK. And let's add a circle in there. So hit that ellipse tool, and right in the center right here, just click, drag, hold down the shift button so you get a perfect circle, and then hold down the command button so it stays in the center. Okay, and drag it out to about the size of the end of the burst. So I'm gonna go right about here. Then we're gonna go to this mask, duplicate it, so Command D, open it up, go to the mode and hit subtract, and then go down here to the mask expansion and let's expand it down. So now we have sort of an outline right here. Okay, now you can close that with the mask 2 selected, hit Command D, okay, to duplicate it one more time, and then with my arrow selected, I'm going to mess around with the shape of this mask. So I'm going to drag it to make it look like I have almost two what are those called, ellipse moons. Cool. So now we have our shape, and we can close our mask down, and with our solid selected, hit S for your size, and then maybe this burst will be a second long. Yeah, we can go with the second long. Okay, and so keyframe that scale at the second, and at the very beginning we'll bring it down to 0. So basically what happens is it explodes up, right? And then we can trim this down. So with the layer selected, Option and bracket, like that. Cool. And what we'll also do is rotate it as well. So keyframe that rotation, and maybe rotate it like that. Okay, so it comes out and pew, like that. Let's even add some opacity keyframes. So I'm going to hit T for opacity, start it at 100, end it at 0%. Okay, so we go from 100 to fade out. Okay, 100 to fade out. Good. I like that. And let's add one more of these. So just with your layer selected, Command D to duplicate it. And we can even offset it a little bit like that. Hit S. And let's change up that scale as well. So it won't go to 100. This one will go to 80. Okay, like that. And we're going to have a different rotation. So hit R for rotation. And maybe this one will rotate the opposite way. So let's see what that looks like. Boom. Okay, cool. And now I don't want this smaller circle to be white. So let's add a fill to it. So go to your effects and presets, type in fill, and drag a nice fill on top. So now we have a red circle that disappears because our heart is red. Okay, cool. So that's the really fast circle burst. Now let's add some lines into it. So go to layer new, solid, and we'll make a white solid. I'll close that down for now. And what I'm going to do is just create a line. You know, it's as simple as that. Start off in the middle. So just create 4 little points like that. Okay, so this is our line, and we can trim this down as well. Now we're going to keyframe this path also. So let's open this up, go to our masks, and hit that keyframe for the mask path, and we'll actually bring this towards the middle because the end we want this line to shrink. So I'm going to shrink it up right now. The very ending point, like that. Okay, so it goes boom, and then shrink it down here in the middle. Okay, so it'll pop in and come out. I don't like the way it's animating like this, so I'm going to take this keyframe and, oops, not that, with the arrow tool selected. Let's see. So it comes out and maybe halfway through it'll be like that. So it, okay, it kind of works for me. Make it a little skinnier maybe. Okay, so now we have our line animation, and you guys have probably guessed it, I'm not going to create 4 lines, I'm just going to duplicate this one. So Command D to duplicate it, hit R for rotation, and rotate it 90 degrees. So now we have one coming out from the right side. Do it again, Command D, duplicate it, hit R for rotation, this time go to 180, so we have one coming straight down. And one more time, we're going to duplicate it, hit R for rotation, and go to 270. Okay, basically all you have to do is add 90 every time you rotate it, and now you've got one on each side. Cool. Now let's add a little bit of dimension to these. I think I used that word right. So what we're going to do is duplicate this left line, so Command D, and then on the bottom add a fill, and instead of it being white, what we want it is just a darker shade. Okay, and then now I'm gonna zoom in here so I can show you guys kind of what's happening. Now I'm gonna use my arrow tools on my keyboard to move it down and kind of give it that little 3-dimensional look, almost like it has its own shadow or it's another part of it. This is a basic, cheap, fast way of giving some type of 3D effect. You know, not really 3D, but adds more to your effect, your little burst. And I'll even move it down one more. We're going to do this all around. So Command D on this bottom one. I'll move it over to the left and add a fill. Make it a darker shade of white. Actually, I'll make this red and make this bottom one a darker shade of red. So we have white lines, red lines, white circles, and red circles. So I'm going to duplicate this bad boy, come down here, and add a fill, give it a nice gray. Okay, and the last one, duplicate, move it over by using my arrow keys, and add a fill, dark red on the bottom, and a brighter red on the top. Like that. And just like that, we have our burst. Cool, so I'm going to hit the N key on my keyboard and trim comp to work area. So everything is cut down and trimmed out, ready to go. That's our burst. We can close that and come back to our heart composition, and we will add that. So that's our burst 2, the one we just made. Drag it onto here, there it is, and it is what, a second long. So now all we have to do to our heart composition is add a second. So I'll go to composition settings, and for the duration it will now be 3 seconds in 1 frame. So press OK, and let's see what we're working with here. Drag this out to the very end of the heart right before it dies out. We can put it right here, size it down. So I'll press S and scale it down, maybe to like here, and boom, bloop, bloop. Okay. Maybe we even want to speed this up. Maybe a second burst is too long. I don't know. Let's see. Play it out. Yeah. Yeah, a second is definitely too long. So if you need to speed something up like this, just right click, time, enable time remapping. Then what we'll do is add a keyframe. Let me see. There it is. And you just need to drag this keyframe over, and that will speed up your animation. Like that. Boop. Cool. And then we can even add a rotation to it. So hit R for rotation, and I'll hit U so I can see both my keyframes, and then rotate it just like that. Bam. Bam. Cool. I like it. Okay, and we can trim this down and trim comp to work area. So now we'll make sure that all of our hearts are 2 seconds and 16 frames. So I'm just going to take this, I'm going to select it, Command C to copy it, and let's go to all of our heart layers. So this is our heart bottom we just changed. Now we need to add to the heart middle. So 216 is our number. Composition settings, and 216. Press OK, and Command V will add our heart right, or our burst into it, and boom. Oh, gotta move it. Move the position over. I like it. Okay, that's our heart middle. Now we need to work with our heart top. And composition settings, 216 is our number. Press OK. Go over here and Command V to add our burst in there. Boop. Cool. And move the position over. I like it. Bam. Bam. Okay, and we can close that down. So now what we should have are all of our hearts bursting. Cool. Okay, great. Okay, now what we need to do is put our roto brushed layer on the top. Okay, so now our head is covering the hearts. Makes it look more like the hearts are coming out from behind. And because nothing is absolutely straight and perfect, we're going to add a blur to it. So go to your effects and presets, type in fast, and we'll use a fast blur, drag that onto your hearts, and maybe do a blurriness of 3 or 4. And we'll do the same thing to these hearts down here. Add that fast blur and 4. Good, that looks better. You know, this is a raw clip that I haven't color corrected yet. So, you know, if this is going to be your look, you would want to drop down the saturation of your hearts as well. So I'll just drag this saturation down here and turn down the sat. See, maybe about here. I can just Command C that to copy it and Command V down here. And now we've got some nice little heart animation effects going on. And then you can even move these around to where you want them to be. Cool. And guys, it's as simple as that. A little bit tedious work because you got to make the heart animations, the bursts, the custom bursts, and you should be good to go. That's a quick way of adding this little Edgar Wright cartoon effect that he did in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Obviously, he did a lot more 3D compositing stuff, but this is a nice little way. You guys can try it out in After Effects, add it to your music videos, your little Instagram videos, Facebook, whatever it is you guys are doing. Have some fun with it. Hope this helped out. And if it did, please leave us a like. Let us know in the comment section what type of visual effects tutorials you guys would like to know more about. I'll try to address those as soon as possible. Thanks for watching, guys. This is Video Forward. I'm Magic Bard, and I'll see you guys on the next one.